Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome back to IXION Let's Play, where we're about to make some radical changes to a couple of sector layouts, all in the hopes of further optimization and in the hopes of improved stability, both mechanically and figuratively speaking. I'll be completely honest with you, I am a little nervous about the plans I've made for today's session, but I do think they're overall going to make a huge difference with regards to how things play out moving forward. Now, a lot of the changes are a result of some feedback I've seen in the comments of the last handful of episodes. Many of you have been stressing the need for certain types of approaches and maybe some adjustments. You've been pointing out a couple of suboptimal setups, and I've been paying attention to all that, of course, but I was just looking for an opportunity to implement some of the changes that y'all have been suggesting, and I do think now is a good time. We're in this sort of phase right now where we're wrapping things up in this system. We are feeling pretty comfortable about building up enough batteries. I'm fairly confident on that front. Cryonic pods are slowly being woken up. We might even accelerate that by building another cryonic center in Sector 4. So while all that is happening and while we're gathering resources across the board, I figure why not make some adjustments, not just to Sector 4, which is what I'm looking at right now, but also actually to Sector 1 and Sector 2 as well. Some of these guys have been pretty stagnant, I suppose you could say, for quite a bit of time. Minor changes here and there, but now it's time for some serious reworks. I think more so for Sector 2, since Sector 1 has been getting periodic facelifts. With that said, let's start with Sector 4, I think, where some of the changes are going to enable changes in other sectors. First of all, let's go ahead and build our medium stockpile over here. That's going to be pulling in all of the electronics. That way we'll be able to get rid of this one and actually place another docking bay down over here. And we might actually get an additional one, if I could just find it, down over here too, because what we can do is slam it up against the one we've got built already. And then over here, we'll still be able to fit a Tier 3 battery. And then we can get a road connection to it as well, and we'll have this space up front, or, if we need it, additional domotic quarters, right? We'll be able to fit at least one in there. So if the population over here needs to get bigger and bigger, if we need more room for more people to live, we do have some space available. And I do believe the combination of these three batteries, 2 Tier 2s and 1 Tier 3, should be enough for 5 cycles worth of batteries. Now, we're going to keep this paused. We're going to keep this paused as well for the time being, I think, because we don't need more movement of goods as immediately as we need some of the other things. Or so I think. I might course correct partway through this episode, but that's how I'm feeling right now. And I just want to point out that for the time being, yes, we seem to be maxed out as far as cargo ships are concerned, but some of you pointed out that actually this will get a scroll bar, so if we build more cargo ships, we will in fact be able to move more goods, and that makes sense to me. Thank you for pointing that out. Apparently there is a scroll bar that's hidden until you actually have enough ships for it, so that's something to keep in mind. And I also wonder if rather than having a docking bay in Sector 1, if I shouldn't remove this bad boy and get it placed in Sector 4 instead, get ice storage, and we already have cryonic pod storage over here, so keep Sector 4 kind of the warehouse, and then distribute those goods and people to Sector 1 rather than actually stockpiling them over here, right? Because ice can be moved from sector to sector. It's water that can't be moved. So that's a suggestion I've seen as well, and it might be the right call because it would free up a lot of space, and in that space, we could build additional mushroom walls, we could make a monument. There's all sorts of options that open up to us, right? Many of you have pointed out that I should perhaps seek a population specialty as well for one of the sectors. I'm not sure just how many housing units are needed for that. I will try. I don't know if any of our existing sectors will be able to sustain that level of population. I mean, in terms of space, obviously, like how many more houses can I fit, in what's supposed to be an industrial zone, for example. So maybe Sector 5 is going to be our population specialization, and we'll plan accordingly. But that's a thought for the future. I just want to let you know that I have seen that as well. Now, back to Sector 4, though, I would like to get additional large stockpiles. So let's go ahead and pop, well, first of all, let's go ahead and get rid of this road over here. Again, this wasn't an important road. This was just a marker for myself so that I knew where I could put a docking bay down if I wanted docking bays up over there, but I'm deciding against it for the time being because not only do we need docking bays, but we also need storage in our warehouse sector, right? That makes sense to me. If I second guess some of this decision making, then I can always adjust, obviously, but for the time being, I think it makes sense to get stockpile number 1, 2, and 3 down over here, and these guys are going to be dedicated to alloys, polymers, and I'm thinking ice, right? And that way we've got in here, we've got iron, we've got carbon, we've got silicon, we've got alloys, we've got polymers, we've got electronics, then we've got cryonic pods, and we've got ice. So pretty much everything needed to sustain the system, or to sustain the station, sorry, should be stored over here. And then we're going to actually go ahead and build our drone bay out over here, where it'll fit fairly snugly and leave enough room for at least one more cryonic center and a bit more stuff as well, some more housing and all that if we decide we need it. I'm almost tempted to slam this right up against the wall to save on any like wasted space. That feels like the wiser move, truth be told. So why don't we go ahead and do that? I do believe this is square, isn't it? It's 8 by 8. So let's go ahead and do this kind of a thing, and we'll build a road to connect you. And we'll need some more housing here as well, because right now our population is okay. We have a give and take of about 50, a little bit less actually, and that'll very quickly drain away, because the stockpiles themselves will take what, 36, right? And then this is going to take another 12. Okay, so that's 48 workers right there. So all of a sudden we're out of our surplus. We have room for some additional inhabitants, but literally 6 more. That's not going to be enough. So to that end, we're going to need more housing as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at population, demotic quarters, and let's go ahead and place these guys down where? Right, it's a bit narrower this time around than our usual, right? Because we wanted to fit this nicely. So why don't we go ahead and do what? If I rotate you, you won't fit. I almost wonder if I should nudge these guys back a little bit, because then I can fit that many more, right? If I do this, actually, would I be able to? No, I would not be able to do that. But like these guys would fit like this, just one grid space over. I would actually have to demolish everything. Everyone would end up homeless temporarily while I make that adjustment. I just wonder the value of that, because we would be able to fit that many more, right? We'd get 1, 2, 3, as opposed to, well, 2. Well, not even 2, actually, because this road has to stay. Okay, so that calls for some adjusting. Just trying to figure out how I want to do this. Let's go ahead and pause these cryonic centers for the time being. We also have to keep an eye on our power situation, right? These guys take, what, 5 apiece? So that's 15 right there. These guys are all paused, so that's okay. We'll have a surplus of 4, so we'll stick to that. Let's keep these guys off for the time being. Hang on a second. You will... Oh, we actually won't have a surplus. We'd be kind of, like, perfectly aligned. So we'll make sure this large stockpile that stores ice will be kept off for the time being, because... In fact, I should probably pause this construction, because we're not even in a position to bring ice here just quite yet. Not until this bad boy's built, right? So we'll do that. Up over here, you guys can stay on and stay active. That's all well and good. Hopefully, we'll soon see the solar panels built, the ones that are queued up right now, waiting for a few polymers. Hopefully, we'll see that happen soon enough. But let's go ahead and do what? Okay, I'm slowly going to shift our demotic quarters a little bit, which should allow me to nudge these guys up and then build additional ones facing the other way. I only have to nudge them up by 1, but I'll probably end up nudging them up by like 2 or something. We'll see how the roads end up working out. We have room up over here as well. Not enough to fit these. Okay, cool. Hopefully I'm not doing this the wrong way. This is an adjustment to what I'd planned before starting the session, but hey, it's fine. Let's go ahead and put this bad boy down over here. We're not going to pause that. We have 4 electronics. That's enough for 2 of you, not enough for an additional home. So why don't we go ahead and pause this construction here for the time being, because we don't have 30 power to sustain it to begin with. And let's go ahead and actually demolish one of these demotic quarters to start with. Again, ultimately we're going to be demolishing all 3 of them, but demolishing one right now will at least give us the electronics we'll need to build this one up, right? So hopefully, again, we're not... I should say I'm not jumping the gun on this, and hopefully the layout I've got planned will actually work out as intended. If not, hey, I'll pay the price when the time comes. So this is all set up now. Sector 4 is looking ready to go. We're just waiting for alloys to come through. We have enough electronics in this sector to do the work we need to do. Alloys, we have 40 over here. Okay, fair enough. There's plenty in the station to build all this. Okay, cool. Sector 3. is looking okay for the time being. We're waiting for polymers to come through. Polymers come through from over here. We don't have that many. We do have plenty of carbon, though. Some over here, some up over here, and plenty of it in Sector 4, I assume, right? Yes, plenty of it in Sector 4. So that's all well and good. Are we actually producing stuff here? We are indeed. Okay. Here's the thing. This one makes me very nervous. We're going to rework Sector 2. And the adjustments I'm making will actually forego the memorial that I was hoping to get here. See, the memorial is quite large. Now, maybe I'd still be able to fit it over... Nah, unless I get rid of some of the roads, which maybe isn't a terrible idea. Okay, so I'll keep that option in the back pocket. But many of you were stressing that I really ought to get an additional waste treatment center. And you're absolutely right. I mean, this is free resources I'm leaving on the table. We have 54 waste over here. We have 100 waste over here. Our mushroom walls are literally, like, unable to operate for the most part because of the sheer surplus we have. So waste is just stockpiling and stockpiling and stockpiling. We're not doing anything with it when we very well could be. Now, this electronics factory being like this is actually getting in our way. And if I wait a little bit of time and then, just to get this one loop done and rework this, I think we can get a lot more out of it. Though, again, it'll involve a lot of adjusting. Okay, so that'll have to wait until the electronics factory is done. It's one cycle. Meanwhile, over here, I actually wanted to get our additional mushroom wall done, though we have to empty food out, and there's just no room for that to happen. So why don't we take a look at resource management really quickly and make sure Sector 2 is actually maxing out how much food it takes. Sector 3, let's get you maxing out how much food you take, and Sector 4, let's do the same for you as well. So these guys should all be topped up, and then Sector 1 will actually be able to empty its stockpiles and empty its mushroom walls as well, which would then allow me to, again, dismantle these guys and nudge them over a tile so we can get 3 mushroom walls down over here, hopefully, once more, maintaining our Tier 2 food specialization, but also allowing us to maybe, eventually, hopefully, get rid of our food restrictions. I think I mentioned this right at the beginning of this session, but I'm really hoping not to rely on the restricted food policies to get this back up to normal, because remember, we've already done the tech upgrades that allow food to feed more people. So hopefully we can get this back up to normal. Right now it's feeling comfortable, but I would feel a lot better if we did in fact have that additional mushroom wall. And in that same vein, I'm actually, I think, going to pursue some of the tech involving the mushroom wall. We're so reliant on it right now, so I wonder if controlled symbiosis is not a bad idea. The algae farm is also tempting because it... I don't know how big these algae plantations are going to be, and it says it uses only a moderate amount of water to produce a large amount of food, whereas the crop farm uses a significant amount of water to produce a large amount of food. So if we're looking at similar amounts of food being produced, but for less space taken and less water being consumed, that's very tempting, right? That's very tempting. But the mushroom walls are here to stay. We're always going to have waste, whereas, as we've discussed previously, water, who knows? We might run out of it at some point in time. We can't rely on it too much, right? So we're going to go ahead and upgrade our mushroom walls. And I'm going to balance the priority of the mushroom wall upgrades with the priority of upgrades to our polymer refinery to try and get more out of it more quickly and to try and make it need less people, though I guess that's not an option for the polymer refinery, only for the electronics factory, eh? Okay, fair enough. What about the steel mill? Okay, also a little different. All right, and the solar panel upgrades are also something I'm wondering about, just to increase power production by 5%. Could go a very long way, especially given our current situation. So you know what? Here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and research heat recovery first, get that extra 5%, and then mushroom walls, let's maybe chase after controlled symbiosis afterwards. Let's queue it up, because if we only have 45 science available, I would rather prioritize the power production than extra food production that we don't urgently need, versus if you take a look at our power situation, I mean, look, this number speaks for itself, right? Okay, so this all needs to be set in motion before we can make changes to Sector 2. Sector 3 is going to have a lot of work done over here. We have to stay on top of it to make sure people don't end up homeless or anything like that. Let's go ahead and... I wonder if I should prioritize this stockpile so I can get rid of this one. Actually, you know what? all things considered, I could probably pause this one and prioritize these other ones, because that's the bigger movement of goods. I don't think, by the way, we'll need a large stockpile for electronics, because it is so difficult to produce unless we end up with additional electronics factories. Nonetheless, with all that said and done, I was talking about science points. Let's use that as a quick segue to head on over to P51 and decide the ultimate fate of the Meyer bacteria. Look, I see all you foul temptresses in the comments. What could go wrong? Do it. Listen. Listen. I think this one's just one step too far. I think this one's just one risk too many. If we hadn't already lost so many lives in this system, I'd be a bit more willing, I think, to take this risk. But I got to consider how I appear as an administrator. Now, many of you were saying, like, if we do end up losing just 5 more lives and another science ship, what is it in the grand scheme of things? We'll be fine. And you know what? Losing 5 lives, as much as it hurts from a roleplay perspective and from, like, just a moral perspective, losing 5 lives in the grand scheme of things isn't that big a deal. But what I don't want to happen is a bunch of science teams go missing, and all of a sudden we're hit with a -1 stability on top of all the other modifiers we've got previously, right? Like, that kind of stuff can really cause us trouble. I don't know if it'll happen, but I don't want to tempt fate too much and have the game slap me across the face with the back of its hand. Gotta play it a bit safe from time to time. Many of you, to be fair, did say, look, this is a step too far, don't do it. Though, again, like I said, many of you were very much for it. They're a sentient species. They deserve to be treated as equals. Yeah, I'll be as terrified of them as I am of the Black Market Society and the United Nations. How about that? I'll treat them as equals, and I'll be absolutely terrified of their potential. The rate at which they grow, the rate at which they advance, it's just far too threatening. So, no thank you. We will leave the Meyer bacteria over here. Let's leave P51 with the light bulb and the entire team intact and normal and safe, hopefully. Leave P51. Let's go. Again, we've taken enough risks over here. Some of you pointed out, actually, that because of the decision-making at the medical district wreckage, I believe it was, or was that the habitation sector wreckage? The one where we ended up coming across the strange chimera thing. Because of my decision-making there, apparently, we've actually missed out on some stuff. I'm not going to say what, for those of you that don't want spoilers, on decisions that we haven't made, but we missed out on stuff that could have potentially cost us. So we gotta be a bit more careful, I think, from time to time. Nonetheless, all this is done. Let's go ahead and actually finally get time moving now. To be fair, this time we paused for very good reason. Lots of planning needed to be done. We're going to go ahead and see the electronics over here get completed. And then as soon as that happens, we're going to pause once more so that we can make some adjustments. Is now the right time to pull the trigger on this? I mean, is there ever a right time to pull the trigger on major changes? Yes, and that time is always now. Let's go ahead and dismantle this electronics factory, and until this is gone, I don't think I'll be able to do any of my other planning, and in fact, I need to dismantle these two as well. Right, okay, cool. Big risks being taken over here. While that's happening, I should also consider the homelessness situation. Many of you pointed out, quite rightfully, that in strategy games and like war games that I play, I'm so particular about keeping my lowest tier units alive, making sure they're taken care of, and yet here we have over 500 homeless people in a single sector, and I'm instead looking at the percentages. You're absolutely right. I should totally give these guys homes. Now, we have room for quite a few more people in Sector 2, and I think we will need it based on the plans I have. So why don't we take a look at our opportunities here. We've got a population of 452. We've got a housing capacity of 560. So we can bring 100 people over. However, our worker population isn't that great. All right. Oh, man. See, here's the thing. This is where I wonder if I shouldn't switch this to workers first. But that is a -3 to stability. Well, that's that decision make. We can't afford that. A -3 to stability? We can't do that. Not until food has been changed, and even then it cuts it real close. Oh, man. It just, I did not expect such a terrible ratio of workers to non-workers out of all these chronic pods. Who has enough workers to spare? And if not that, then we'll just send regular, just non-workers over as well, because at this point in time, it's kind of ridiculous. And once Sector 4 has more of its housing in place, we'd be able to get more people down there as well. Population of 910 over here. Sector 3 is also seeing a bit of homelessness, so we should probably build some housing there. Sector 2, yeah, you have room for about 100. You have room for about 100. You have many more workers than you actually need, even with the additional planning for today's session. So, okay, fair enough. You know what, Sector 1, let's go ahead and send non-workers from Sector 1 to Sector 2, because we got room for them, and it'll be about 108, I suppose. That'll get us right to the limit, but why not? Why not make it one fell swoop over here? Only non-workers from Sector 1 to Sector 2, start migration. That should provide some relief. We still have about, what, 432 too many people in Sector 1? Do we have room for them anywhere? Not really. So we'll have to wait until Sector 4 has some of its housing built, and that's the thing about Sector 2 as well, is I was wondering, rather than putting a memorial down over here, if we don't put down some housing over here, just to help distribute the people, right? Separately, again, as many of you pointed out, there is the option, of course, of having an entire housing sector, which is maybe what Sector 5 will be, and then again, of course, there is this sector, or this section as well, where I could consider putting down some more housing. EVA airlock, if you go down over here, taking a look at how much room we'll have left. Just the 2. Now that's wide enough to put a house down if I get rid of some of the road. So there is that option. Which, you know what, is seeming really tempting right now. Really wish I hadn't put this road down. Really wish this had faced the other way. But I can't live a life of regrets like that. If I move this stockpile, which is a conversation I've been trying to have multiple times, where would I move it to? Maybe it's time to move it to down over here, because we don't need all that much over there. So, okay, fine. Let's go ahead and move just a small stockpile down over here, closer to where all the storage actually is. So I suppose that makes sense. Pop you down there. Do we have enough batteries over here? We do indeed. So this will happen. You'll be for alloys. And then we'll get rid of this, and we'll put a couple of houses down over there. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Cool. All right, cool. Back to having time move forward. Once some of these houses are actually built, I'll actually be able to get things moving, right? And by the way, don't worry about this battery back over here. We do have enough room for a road down here, so we will still be able to build it, and we'll be able to build these guys as well. So that's all looking well and good. We're pulling alloys to build what first? You first? I really want to prioritize this house over here, please. I should have done that. That's on me, obviously. Should have done that. All right, there's our population transfer. Things are looking a little bit better there. These guys are building this. Wow, that happened quickly. Cool. Speed time up a little bit. And you know what, actually? Let's take a look at the system map over here. Is there anything I need to be concerning myself with as far as events? Doesn't seem to be the case. We have a probe ready to go, and I just wonder if we shouldn't pursue some additional resources. There's no silicon out there being mined, so that's going to become a bottleneck at some point in time. Carbon, there's only so much left. Perhaps we should seek out additional resource. Oh, hello. There's a sweet spot somewhere out over here. How can I ignore that, right? How can I ignore that? Where'd you go? There we go, right there. Yeah, let's pop you over. I need to strip mine this entire system. I know I was planning on departing the system this session. It might take a little bit longer than that, and my apologies for misleading you there. Obviously, it was not intentional, but I think there's a great scale of preparation we can still do in this system before we move on to the next one. And many of you have just stressed that I really shouldn't be so lax about leaving things behind, and you're right. You're very much right. We've finished research for our solar panels, so that's looking very good. Very glad to see that. What do we actually... that's the thing. We're not storing food down here, right? That's the one thing I was thinking about. Food storage over here would allow us to relieve some of the pressure on Sector 1. Though then again, we have now decided to move food elsewhere. Are we really topped up everywhere? Resource management. Sector 2. Topped up. Sector 3. Not topped up yet. Why are we seeing a jam? Sector 4 is trying to get topped up too. So what's the problem? What is the problem? Because we got food over here, yeah. I gotta work on this. We got food over here, yeah. And we got food over here, so it should be able to move. We'll keep an eye out for it. I would also, yes, very much like to dismantle these guys, because just as a reminder, again, mushroom wall will not fit over here. we have to nudge all these over by 1 step, and we have the room for it, but we just have to do the nudging. Can I... Of course, these guys got emptied first. Can I go ahead and dismantle you and you, please? It's a bit of a pain that I have to do this now because we have to make sure there's room enough for all the electronics and alloys and stuff. I think we'll be fine. We gotta do them one at a time. Let's actually... God damn. Well, moving the food itself is going to be a pain. We'll maybe get this storing alloys as well. We'll see how that plays out. But over here, let's get some work done. So first of all, let's go ahead and get rid of this road over here because this is going to be adjusted. Let's go ahead and put down, under factories, the waste treatment center down over here. This is why we needed to get rid of the batteries. So if I put the waste treatment center down over here, we'd have enough room for the electronics factory over here. It could get a little bit closer, but don't think that's going to do anybody any favors. But if I put you down over here, that's the thing. That little space, that little 3 by whatever space is so frustrating. But what else am I going to do, right? I can't really... Unless I rework everything, I can't really do much. So I'm thinking we pop this down over here. That would allow us to then get a tier 3? No, a tier 2 battery up over here. Again, bit of a wasted slot there. I wonder... No, okay. Let's go ahead and pop you down up over here, and then we can get either an additional tier 2 battery over here as well, and the road can go straight up and down. We can fit another tier 2 battery here. I don't think we'll need it. And then we can consider potentially getting rid of this guy over here and getting housing down there instead. Oh, we'll actually... Yeah, we'll be able to fit a unit down over here. That's a bit more messy. That's not a thought for right now, but this is the thinking right now. This gives us an additional waste treatment center. It allows us to get an electronics factory, which is still close enough to all these things to move goods, right? If the polymer refinery wasn't there, we'd be able to get the electronics factory down over there, but I have no interest in moving this thing around. And if we wanted to get another polymer refinery, I don't think we can fit it. We can... No, there's no way to make this work. I was just mulling over what we could shift in what direction, but there's no way to make this work. No. Nudge you. No, there's no way to make that work. Okay, cool. So yeah, again, is it perfect? No. Is it better than what we had before? Yes. Or so I think. Let's keep you paused for the time being. I want to prioritize the waste treatment center over here and the electronics factory itself. The electronics factory being the topmost priority. We need to get this thing done so we can start producing electronics at a faster rate once more. And this waste treatment center is probably going to do the same for the time being, produce more electronics, because at least we have, you know, carbon to make polymers. We have silicon to make electronics as well, but this thing is so slow to operate, right? All right, let's get time moving forward. Again, hopefully these decisions are leaning in the right direction. If not, we'll be in a touch of trouble. And as we're working on the controlled symbiosis upgrade for the mushroom wall, why don't we take a look at improvements for the polymer refinery, perhaps? Production speed increase? Yeah, let's queue you up. Resources have... pressure is starting to be applied. Anytime I go to build, for example, a solar panel, I start to feel it a bit more. So, starting to course correct based on some of those circumstances. We are not topped up on silicon. Don't lie to me, game. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. And of course, a mushroom wall gets disabled as we're in the process of all these adjustments. We're still fine. Average production is 163% of meal requirements, so we're still okay. The big concern is, of course, yes, actually getting both of these guys taken care of. The 91 food and the 98 food, like, where is that all going to go? Take a look at resource management, sector 1, food, trying to keep 5. We just have to wait for some meal cycles. Do we have to intentionally drain our resources a bit? What is actually going on? Why are we... I guess that was a bit of a roadblock? Seems like it, because it looks like they're moving again. Okay, fair enough. That was strange. But everything's all good now. Everything's all good. Let's take a look at fleet management really quickly just to make sure everyone is busy. Ice is still looking kind of tight. Can I get... Oh, that's not what I meant to do. That's not what I meant to do at all. Ice is looking kind of tight, I was saying. Let's see if we can't get... Well, we're almost done with the cryonic pods being picked up. If we go back to Sector 1, We still have a decent bit of water, and again, don't forget, even after that, we have the mushroom walls and the huge surplus already, right? So why don't we go ahead and turn food import off at Sector 2, because that seems to be getting in the way, I guess. And we'll turn it back on later. Meanwhile, Sector 3 has had an accident. Hopefully nothing too major. Oh, over here. Okay, cool. We're now looking at a huge negative balance per cycle as far as hull integrity is concerned, but that's because we're building the solar panel finally. Hopefully we'll be okay. This is going a lot more slowly than I would have expected, but I mean, there are technologies we can use to speed it up, but that'll take time to get as well, of course. I think we'll be fine. Worst case scenario, I do believe we can, yes, pause construction and let it recuperate a little bit. We might turn this bad boy back on after construction is done, just to make sure we're at higher integrity a bit more quickly. And what do we got over here? Why are we struggling with iron? What's the issue here? We're really gonna have to spend some time to make sure this is all working as it should. Let's get you set to a minimum of 50, I suppose, just so there is a number over here. And then you should be exporting to Sector 2, which is trying to keep maxed out. All right, okay, fair enough. That's right. That's what I want. Sector 3 is getting food. Sector 4 is getting food. Sector 1, you are still exporting food. It looks like that's all working okay. So that's all well and good. And how's our housing looking? This thing's being built now finally. Okay, that's good. This thing's still being stripped down. Again, we got to do this like one step at a time, right? But getting rid of this one first will allow me to place my first demotic quarters down over here, facing the right direction. If I go ahead and population, pop you down like this, we'd have to get rid of this road. Oh, I can't actually, right? I can't. So I do 1, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Ooh, if I could get rid of that road, I'd be able to fit one more, right? I get 1, 2, 3, 4. Unfortunately, the mess hall needs a road connection. There's not much we can do about that. Can I rotate the mess hall? I don't think so. Oh, actually, hang on a second. Food, not insect farm, mess hall. If we nudge these guys back, I would be able to. God damn it. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. That is good. So, this guy's going to get built. Then we'll demolish this guy and start from this side inwards. Wish I'd realized that opportunity there sooner, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world. We're okay. We are A-okay. This is all looking good. Yep, all good. Again, we're waiting for housing to be constructed. This electronics factory is almost done, so that's promising. And then we'll focus on the waste treatment center, right? Sector 1 is now specialized food rank 1. That means at least one of them has been dismantled. Cool. This is good. This is what we need. Sector 1 is no longer specialized in recycling either. Again, once we get the mushroom walls back up and running, we'll be perfectly fine on that front, so not too concerned about that. But back over here, this is now the priority, I suppose, without needing to be told that it's the priority. And then we'll go ahead and get the batteries going as well, which I do think will be enough for 5 cycles. If we have one over here and another one over here, I think that'll do the trick. And again, we might even be able to get rid of the one down over here, or maybe even the ones up over here, and find more room for more housing or something, anything. Nonetheless, feeling a lot better about this. Back over here, almost done. Yeah, we should be okay. I think we'll be fine. In fact, at this point in time, I know we'll be fine, so that's okay. Let's go ahead and, yeah, dismantle these demotic quarters. And we'll put them down starting from that side. Again, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Wish I'd realized sooner, but it is what it is. Polymers. All right, what to do with you now? Here's the thing: we're nowhere near our cap right now, so I'm almost wondering if I want to reprioritize this for something else for the time being, like food. You know, just to help Sector 1 empty out and stuff. Probably not the right call. I should probably get Sector 4 stockpiling maximum polymers, and then not actually, right? Sector 2, you are exporting to Sector 4 as the priority, and then Sector 4 will export to wherever it's needed using its drone bays that'll hopefully be coming soon. And hopefully Sector 3 will maintain its supply, because it's the one that builds our probes and stuff. So that should work out. Hopefully. We'll see. Back to the system map on the topic of probes. Let's go ahead and launch one and see if there aren't more resources to be found somewhere. Some silicon nearby. That's good. Lots of ice here. Some silicon and iron. Okay. Maybe the silicon's the right call. We have a bit on board the Tiqqun, and there's a bit more to collect out there. But doesn't hurt to have more, I suppose, right? Some hydrogen. Oh, there's some carbon out there. You know what? Let's start with silicon. Then we'll chase after carbon afterwards. Where'd you go? There you are. Pop you over to there. Fleet management real quick. There are some assignments across the board, so we should be okay. Yeah. And yeah, I think we're okay. Cursory glance, maybe I should pay a bit more attention to it, but I think we're fine. Speeding time up a little bit. New policy can be set in Sector 4. Do I want to do anything about their food or anything like that? I mean, how are they feeling over here right now? Stability of 2. I suppose we keep it as is for the time being. Don't want to take don't want to take any risky moves unnecessarily, right? Normal working hours is fine. This is where workers first is tempting, because if we're going to have so many cryonic centers over here, but again, that -3 hit to stability is really is something. We're also going to have quite a bit of waste produced over here, so that's something to consider too, right? Just to make sure we're maximizing our use of waste at all times. All right, we finally got alloys. I realized right now that our alloy stockpile over here already existed. If I get rid of this one, what would I do with it instead? I suppose I could make this into a food stockpile, 2 food stockpiles instead. Not as optimal as a medium one, which would have fit over here. Or I could make this a stockpile for hydrogen or literally anything else, I suppose. But again, the thinking is that with the drone bay built, hopefully we'll be able to ship goods quickly enough, and that's why this really should act as the central hub. Again, if adjustments are needed, they can always be made. I do think this is working out just fine for the time being, though. Resource management, Sector 4. Should I get you maxing out on alloys? I suppose so. Sector 3 needs to hold on to alloys as well, right? Because that's where all the airlocks are located. Let's go ahead and make sure that you are actually active for the time being as well. Let's repair as quickly as possible at plus 89. That's good. And then we'll go ahead and consider the construction of the next solar panel set, which I believe is this one. What's this? Ooh, drone jammer. Disrupts drone targeting systems by flooding BMS frequencies with false data. Well, I'm glad I checked this tab. I wonder if I shouldn't prioritize this before we move on. Didn't realize this had become an option. It's not one of the objectives under Prepare for the Piranesi, but wouldn't I rather have this ready sooner than later? Not top priority, but definitely something we'll want to do before we leave this system. I think top priority is still these additional solar panels. We only have 71 power available. That's not a lot. 247 polymers, 6 electronics. Wasteful. Let's wait until we actually have accumulated enough polymers to make this viable, as opposed to stockpiling 6 electronics that could easily be used more quickly elsewhere. And once we have enough polymers, we'll go ahead and build additional solar panels. Because, yeah, 71 power is not that impressive. And it's definitely something I want to keep an eye on. Hull integrity is looking good. That's all well and good. This is all looking pretty good. Maybe it's time to prioritize the housing that I promised these guys. So population, demotic quarters, up like this. And just going to pause for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4 will fit if we get rid of this road. Turn this thing around, right? So this is good for the time being. 300. Let's go ahead and dismantle you. 106 homeless. No, we can't do that, because then it'll be 200 homeless out of 300, and it'll hit stability and all that kind of stuff. So let's get these built. And then when one of these gets built, we'll switch priorities to our drone bay to see how it actually functions, to make sure that I've not overdone it, right? Because it's very possible that I have. Tech is looking okay, though we should pick our next piece of technology. Division of tasks does what? Increases production speed, right? So that should be good. I think that's the right call. Might even want to consider some of these as soon as they become unlocked. It'll be a bit of time because there's no more science that we're collecting, but I do think that'll be the right call. Now, with all of our food upgrades, well, not all, but with the one food upgrade in place and our mushroom walls gone, we're still looking at 170% average production compared to meal requirements. That's no joke. We're doing very well. Almost makes me wonder if we do need all those mushroom walls up over here. The specialization is quite nice. And again, right, you know what? Why did I even say that? Why am I even thinking that? The plan here is to get rid of these restricted food policies. I want that -1 stability gone. So why would I even hesitate when we have so much waste. Ignore I said that, please. Ignore I said that. Let's go ahead and dismantle this insect farm as well to make sure we've got room enough. And then we'll go ahead and build 3 mushroom walls over here. They will take, what? 10 workers apiece, 5 power apiece. So we got plenty of power. Do we have enough workers over here? I do believe we do. Yes. We should be fine on that front. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Still got to move people around. Just waiting for Sector 4 to catch up, and then we'll be able to nudge people around. Sector 4, actually, hang on a second. How are you looking in terms of workers? We got wiggle room for 50? Okay. Okay. Just trying to figure out... Well, this is almost built. That's good to see. Just trying to figure out when it's time to pull the trigger on this docking bay. Baton Rouge. It's a restaurant chain, at least here in Canada. I know it's a city as well. Sorry, I should be clear. I'm aware that it's a city as well, but it's a restaurant chain up over here in Canada. That's all I can think of now. Get the docking bay built. We'll be able to bring more resources here a bit more smoothly. Get some more cargo ships going. Probably not a bad idea. Actually, get this large stockpile built as well, because then we can have ice centralized over here. We can maybe get rid of the docking bay in Sector 1, make some more room for additional housing or mushroom walls, perhaps. Things to consider, things to consider. And I'm thinking we will do what? You know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and resume your construction. Power you on as well. And let's go ahead and build this road over here too. Sure, I'll put you down like that. This one gets it on that side, this one gets it on this side. Yeah, that sounds good to me. These houses are almost all done. Great to see. Let's go ahead and resume your construction as well, because like I said, I do want to see how the drone bay works. We don't have enough electronics on the station right now, but the electronics factory should hopefully get a couple of those pumped out soon enough. We'll eventually want to, yeah, shift these guys over as well, right? Look at all these guys like buzzing about. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild to see. I like it. I like it a lot. Feeling pretty comfortable about this, actually. Okay, that's all well and good. Again, hull integrity is maxed out, so we can turn this thing off. Don't mind the -1. As soon as the efficiency gets pumped up a little bit, we'll be at equilibrium. I do wonder. Well, actually, we don't have electronics to waste to train more colonists, so let's ignore that conversation. But back over here, let's go ahead and build those mushroom walls. Again, these guys need electronics, but they're not as much of a priority as some of our other options, right? So if I do, let's see, 1, 2, they both have road connections, and 3, a road connection for you is forthcoming. If I put you down like this, we have a bit of room for what? What could we do here? Housing, I suppose. But is there literally nothing else? Another cryonic center, perhaps? Actually, that would fit. That would fit, and it would allow us to either speed things up in Sector 1 as well as in Sector 4, or it would allow us to get rid of this one and place something else over here, like more housing, so it looks a bit neater. That's an option. What else could I possibly want to do over here? An insect farm would not fit. Stockpile would not fit. Like a medium one would not fit. A drone bay would definitely not fit. And this is why I'm wondering if food should also be stockpiled in Sector 4. So that there's a drone bay there able to distribute everywhere. Because from my understanding, drone bays send, they don't bring. Or I guess they send and bring, but only from where the station is. So, from where the drone bay is. So the sector with the drone bay needs to be all stockpiled up, right? And that's why if we had food in Sector 4, it would be able to bring in and send that stuff as well. Though, again, I don't know about the throughput and the efficiency. Nonetheless, we have room over here for something. Is it going to be cryonic pods? I feel like that might not be a terrible idea, at least like temporarily. A cryonic center, sorry. Just to get work done over here. We'll think about it. Obviously, the priority is building these mushroom walls. And by priority, I mean, let's get her done, right? Get that food specialization back, get the recycling specialization back. Those are making some pretty significant differences. And even without these mushroom walls built, we're seeing 164% of average production versus meal requirement. So as soon as these guys are done, I'll feel comfortable getting rid of our food policies that have been impacting the stability for quite some time, and I think that'll be the right call. These electronics can wait. We don't need this battery. We're not in a rush for that. Again, that's for when we leave. We want to make sure that's all in place. How are we looking down over here? Population is fine. I have room here for more people, so let's go ahead and take a look at population management. Sector 4. We got room for, what, about 230 more people. Sector 2 has a lot more workers than it needs, right? I could probably send, like, 50. So, workers only. Sector 2 to Sector 4. Let's send 50. Is that the right call? Leave us with a bit of a surplus. Yeah, I think that should do it. So, 50 workers from Sector 2 to Sector 4. Start that migration. And let's get some non-workers, I suppose, down to Sector 4 as well, right? Sector 4 will have a capacity of about 180, give or take. So from Sector 1, let's get 180 non-workers down to Sector 4. Just to help provide some relief. Sector 3 is obviously having some trouble as well. But Sector 1's a little over the top. So let's start the migration over here. Non-workers from Sector 1 to Sector 4. Start that migration. Cool. And again, over here, we're going to build more housing, right? Now, I want to make sure... Again, I kind of should have made these adjustments first. I want to make sure we are dismantling U2 so I can rotate the mess hall and get more housing built over here. We'll hopefully work quickly enough. Of course, the housing goes first. Population transfers have already started. Sector 4 is going to see some starving, but that's only because there's no mess hall. That's temporary. Alloys are not topped up. No way. Can we prioritize this? No? You're gonna rush this? Okay, fair enough. That's okay. That's fine. Once that's done, this will move quickly. Speed time up a little bit. Gotta keep an eye on this. I wanted to make sure that we got it in between meal cycles, and we do seem to have that covered. We were at 1135 when I started, so we should be fine on that front. Let's go ahead. Hurry it up, please. Done. Get all the food out of there as well. Or do we not need to? I'm sure we need to. Temporarily, let's get food stockpiled up over here. Just so we can get rid of this thing. Come on now. And now we have a bit of homelessness over here as well, because again, my timing was a little off. Not the end of the world, but obviously not optimal. Get rid of you. Cool. Now, housing. Or rather, this road up over here. How are we going to approach this? If I get rid of you, right? And I go to build some housing. Oh, I gotta get a mess hall down first. God damn it, game. Come on. Come on. Pop you down like this. It doesn't have to be built because that's the free one we get, right? But population, demotic quarters. You can get one over here. We have a bit of a funky space over here. That's fine. Didn't we? Well, we end up with one extra this way. We had to move these guys back anyway. So I would do one like this, leaving a strange space over there, but it is what it is. And then I would do a few up over here. Can't put them down like this. I put them down like this. Do I want them up right against? Or do I want an extra bit of a gap here? Why would I want a gap? What do I have to gain with that gap? Nothing. I would just have the road lined up there. But if I have these guys up over here, I have that ugly one square. And then over here I'd have an even uglier T-shape. So that has no value for me. That has no value for me. I could do something like this instead, but that eats up the room back over here for cryonic centers and stuff like that. So sure, let's go 1, 2, like so. That would allow me to put the road down like this. Bit of a jank there, but not the end of the world. Is this what I had in mind? I don't know if it is, but you know what? It's looking fine. Looking clean enough. This is a bit of an outlier. We might eventually get rid of it if we feel it's hideous enough to deserve that fate. Go ahead and pause you guys for the time being. Electronics are tight, so I want to make sure we are approaching things in the right order. Prioritize you. And this guy needs to be resumed as well, because we've got enough alloys to make these changes. Alright, cool. Let's let time move forward, and we'll want to get some of these batteries built up as well, right? Just to make sure we're making progress on this objective too. I hope this was the right call. I think so. I think the reorganization there cleaned things up a little bit. Yeah, I think so. We'll see. Nothing like having a couple of regrets every once in a while, right? So many cryonic pods over here, slowing this docking bay down. Alright, Sector 4. Let's pull in 200 cryonic pods. Again, we need to be careful, right? Because I'm pretty sure the tipping point is if you have more cryonic pods than people. And right now we only have population of 560 over here. Okay, so you know what, there's a bit more wiggle room there than I'd previously anticipated. So resource management sector 4, let's get this up to 500 then. Let's do that. And that way we should see hopefully sector 3 free up especially. Can I, resource management sector 3, cryonic pods, aim for 0. Sector 1 is aiming for 200. So they'll both try to empty out a little bit. Oh, drones! Wow, they got right to work, didn't they? Oh, this is this is wild. This is strange. What are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? What are you moving and where and how? And oh, they got these little like gaps that they're moving through. Okay, cool. You can actually see what resources they're carrying. You got 4 polymers right now, and you're about to have how many delivered? 2 of them dropped 3. Is that accurate? Did I see that right? That's not very efficient. All right, back down to here to take a look at this drone bay. Constructs and stores drones. So it is entirely automated, as I believe some of you actually pointed out in the comments, so thank you for that. Constructs and stores drones. Drones can be used to quickly transfer up to 10 units of resources at a time between sectors. Okay, so they use... Oh, that's not that fast, actually. 10 units at a time. Is each individual drone able to do that much? How many drones do you come with? I wish this had at least a bit more information to work with. But if we take a look at our tech tree, the drone bay does have some upgrades with regards to maximum drone capacity, number of resources they can move. Like, there are some serious options over here that are worth exploring, I think, especially as this all starts to happen. Now, it looks like these guys only deliver to and don't bring from. You get what I mean? It looks like we have 1, 2... We have 4 drones, is that it? Alright, so let's keep an eye on these guys. So we have 14 alloys here right now. You still have 14 alloys, so what actually happened there? You're coming to drop alloys off. You look... Visually, it looks like it's dropping alloys off, and yes, indeed. And then it disappears once it drops it off. Okay. We'll keep an eye on the movement of goods, and hopefully it's sustainable. What are alloys looking like up over here? Do we actually... I think we might actually need to store a bit more, considering the construction over here has basically come to a standstill. Alright, they're moving at an okay rate. Again, optimally, I suppose we'd have surpluses everywhere. A minimum of 10 is what we're targeting right now, so why don't we go ahead and target a minimum of 30. Let's do that in Sector 1. Just to make sure they have something. Okay. Alright, okay. Progress being made. Food is still a bit of an issue, eh? Actually, Sector 2, you're still not accepting food. We should make sure you're starting to accept food. There we go. That'll keep things flowing. And not surprise me with a shortage down the line. Electronics are still kind of tight. What's actually happening over here? What are you producing? You're producing alloys? Let's switch you over to electronics, as was the original plan. I don't mind that we had it on alloys for so long, because you know what? We have a nice bit of a gap over here now. And if we just take a look at fleet management really quickly, how's everything looking? No silicon out there to pick up, so we're wasting time there. Santa's sleigh will soon need to... Let's actually go ahead and flip this off and get you chasing after ice. That makes most sense to me. But otherwise, yeah, silicon, we need to mine some more out. That means we need to find some more silicon out there. Getting kind of tight on that front. Oh, we have plenty on board, of course, so I'm not overly concerned, but a lot of idle mining ships right now doing pretty much nothing. Oh, you got something over here. Medium. I'll take it. I know I said I'd be chasing after carbon afterwards, but I mean, at least there's carbon to mine, right? Unless I... Yeah, at least there's carbon to mine still and to pick up, so at least work's still being done there. But there's a lot else we could definitely be doing. Back to the interior. Things are looking comfy, cozy, yeah, looking good. Looking good. Plenty of waste coming through still. All well and good. And again, yeah, once these guys are done, we can take a look at our food policies. Speed time up a little bit more again. Sector 1 is still dealing with a bit of homelessness. We'll definitely move more people over to Sector 4 when some of these houses get built. Though for that, of course, we'll need electronics, and I just wonder if I don't want to perhaps prioritize the construction of this battery over here. Oh, hey, this docking bay is done as well. Okay, so who do we move over? Again, I've grown kind of attached to having Drakkar over here, perhaps foolishly. Hermes and Pushpaka Vimana can be moved over. That'll leave us some slots over here to get some more cargo ships, just for the purpose of you know, having immediate provisions of goods. Do we have alloys over here? We are not currently collecting... Sorry, not alloys, polymers over here. So let's make sure we're actually doing that. Where are we? Polymers. There you are. So that we can build the additional ships that need building. Let's take a look at resource management. Sector 2, polymers, trying to stockpile 10. Okay. Did I seriously not? Huh. Oh, right, of course I have you over here. Duh. Alright. That's my bad. That's my bad. Let's keep you with ice. I mean... don't see... maybe I've overdone it a little bit, eh? Maybe I've overdone it a little bit. Well, let's keep you with ice for the time being. But, okay. So, Hermes and Pushpuka Vimina, let's get you over here. Where are you? Where are you? Hermes and Pushpuka Vimina. And again, we have another slot over here as well, right? To get another cargo ship. And what are these guys actually bringing? Silicon, not really, and carbon. Okay, fair enough. Division of tasks has been researched. That's good to see. Making decent progress as far as tech is concerned, right? So that's good. But yes, do we want to use polymers for additional cargo ships right now? Ooh, Santa's sleigh have become more experienced. Excellent. It can store more now. Now, here's what I'm torn about. Do I want to use the polymers for cargo ships right now in a system where we're slowly running out of things to pick up? Or do I want to use cargo ships... do I want to use the polymers for the solar panel that I was talking about building, right? We only have 18 power available right now, so things are getting kind of tight. These guys are paused. I could resume them. They'll take 2 power apiece, so we can go ahead and do that. We still have enough wiggle room. These cryonic centers will take 5 power apiece, so we can still turn them back on too. That is an option. And then this thing will take 4 power. Yeah, see, it's like, it piles up. It stockpiles up real quick, doesn't it? I think I should save up for the solar panel. Because it'll cost us how much? 247 and 6 electronics. So maybe it's time to start considering that, and then we can get... what we can do is we can do a bit of a dance as we're waiting for electronics to come through. If we hit the polymer goal, as we're waiting for electronics to come through, we can go ahead and build some additional cargo ships, and then we can perhaps also, have more drones launched to seek out additional resources to actually pick up. Alternatively, of course, I could build more mining ships, but it's not like there's all that much to mine either, apart from ice. So, oh, hello. As I say that, of course, I highlight this spot over here. Pop you down to there, see what else there is to gather. We'll see. We'll see. For the time being, solar panels my thinking. I mean, y'all let me know what you think if you feel strongly otherwise, but I do feel that's the right call. This doesn't have to be a priority. These guys are still paused. Again, is the solar panel the priority, or is the battery of batteries down over here the priority, right? What I know is these houses over there, I think certainly the priority. We need to get these things done so we can get more people down here from Sector 1. And then we can also have more cryonic pods coming here as well. We will probably need Sector 5 before we leave this system, just for housing alone. There are so many people. And not many of them workers, unfortunately. Sector 1, you have about a surplus of 120 workers, so at least there's that. We might bring, 50 of them down to Sector 4 or something. So let's say 50 workers from Sector 1 down to Sector 4. That'll help relieve a little bit of pressure, while keeping a surplus of 70. Remember, we have those mushroom walls coming still, right? So we can't be too lax about things. These are 30 workers over here. 30, so 260 required. Yeah, 50 should be a safe number. So 50 workers from Sector 1 to Sector 4. Help out a little bit. And then we still have, like 400, 390 people living here. A bit much. 390. Sector 2, you can house how many more people? Like 60 more people. Okay. Time to start distributing those non-workers, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. So 60 non-workers from Sector 1 to Sector 2. That'll give us a bit of homelessness. So why don't we do 55 instead? Is that 55? Yeah, that'll still give us some homelessness. Let's go with 50. Start that. And then Sector 3 has room for how many? It doesn't. Oh, okay, no, it does. It has room for 20, like less than 20 people. Yikes. I'm gonna have to seriously consider our population distribution and the opening of Sector 5. All that at the same time as considering the construction of additional solar panels, right? Because we don't have enough power right now to open up an additional solar panel and actually sustain it. I'm glad these drones are running around now. These are doing a lot of work. I think they seem to be moving goods. I mean, I know they're moving goods. Hopefully, they're moving them quickly enough. I don't seem to have any issues with them for the time being. Right now, we're researching what? Internal components optimization, which I think is the right call. This will allow these guys to move goods just a little bit faster. And there's quite a few upgrades over here that I think would make a huge difference as far as well, our warehouse. And this has actually become pretty much a full-fledged warehouse. Yeah, food storage did not need to be up over here. This needs to be ice storage, I think. Let's flip you back. Let's get all the food back down over here, and we should be able to sustain everyone that's living over here. Electronics are coming through at an okay rate because of the 2 waste treatment centers and the 1 electronics factory, so that's good to see. I think next session we'll go ahead and get these cryonics centers up and running, get our additional solar panels built up, and see where life takes us. I mean, we're 500 cryonic pods away from being the arc of humanity, and we are only a couple of batteries away from having enough to prepare for the Piranesi. Don't forget, of course, if we take a look at the exterior view, don't forget that we will want to get the drone jammer done before we leave. In fact, I would say that's even more of a priority than the solar panels, but all that and more, of course, folks, is a conversation for next time. This is where we're going to call it a session. I hope you enjoyed this one. I most certainly did. If you had a good time, don't hesitate to let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below. As always, it makes a very big difference in just letting me know what people are enjoying on the channel, what I should keep doing, what I should speed up, what I should slow down. And, of course, if you have any thoughts on our approach today and some of the major changes we made today and maybe major changes we still need to make, feel free to drop them in the comments down below as well. Again, this was a very harrowing experience because we made a lot of big changes, but they seem to all be working in our favor. The only thing that's causing me some distress is a strong word, but the only thing I'm wondering about is our rate of producing polymers, and do I maybe want to get another polymer refinery? And if I do, where would I put it? Sector 5, I guess, housing is another priority. Do we try and get that population-centered sector early on next session? Feels as though we have at least one more session in this system before we leave, but that moment is right around the corner, folks. Right around the corner. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.